Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. Thank you for joining in. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padikamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam श्रीरूपं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam Uyu class. We have completed so far 10 cantos apart from the 10th canto. So, and today we'll be beginning the 12th canto, that is the last canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, this last canto is called as Nirodha because this canto describes the four types of annihilation. As in the second canto, the 10 topics of Bhagavatam are described. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshanamutayah manvantara ishanukatha nirodha mukti and ashraya. Primary creation, secondary creation, sarga and visarga, then sthan, this whole cosmic creation, poshanam, how Lord protects his devotees, utayah, the auspicious and inauspicious inclinations, manvantara, the various manvantaras are described in the 8th canto, Uti is described in the 7th canto, Poshan in the 6th canto, and Ishanukatha, the stories of the various kings in the moon and sun dynasty described in the 9th canto, and 11th canto we discussed the topic of uh, Mukti, how by uh, taking shelter of this knowledge and by the process of devotional service, one can get liberated. And in 11th canto, we discussed in detail this Uddhava Gita, and we saw how Uddhava he asked 20 questions, and in response to those questions, Krishna he explained in great detail the science of devotional service. And this 12th canto is called Nirodha or destruction. So, in this 12th canto, primarily there are topics of destruction, but in between there are topics about Krishna also. So, in this 12th canto, 3 chapters will describe about the destruction of dharma, which happens in Kali Yuga. Then 2 chapter describes a further conversation which happens between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami. Then 1 chapter describes about the various Puranas, and in that conversation, after that, Parikshit Maharaj also leaves his body. Then after this, 3 chapters, they'll describe about the Markandeya Muni, the great Rishi Markandeya, and how he sees the Pralaya. And then the last 3 chapters describe about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is also one of the shortest cantos, apart from second canto, which has 10 chapters. This 12th canto has only 13 chapters. So in 10th and 11th canto, Shukdev Goswami has described the nectar of Krishna's pastimes in great detail. And now, in this 12th canto, to create a detachment in the heart of Parikshit Maharaj, because now almost the 7 days are coming to an end. So Shukdev Goswami, as a very, very concerned spiritual master, he speaks all those topics which will create detachment from the heart, detachment in the heart of of Parikshit Maharaj. So we'll start the discussion. So the first canto, which is entitled as the Degraded Dynasties of Kali Yuga. So the story goes back to the 9th canto. So this is one of the description in the 9th canto. So it was described there that in the dynasty of Puru Maharaj, there was a great king called Uparichar Vasu. So in the dynasty of Ajamedha, then ultimately there was a king called Uparichar Vasu. And Uparichar Vasu's son was Brihadratha. So this Brihadratha, he had his son called Jarasandh. And Jarasandh's son was Sahadev. So Sahadev, he had a son called Marjari, and Marjari's son was Shruta Shrava. So in this way, in that 9th canto, Shukdev Goswami described the dynasty up to the Ripunjay, as you can see in this slide. Till the last 20 kings were described there, ending in Ripunjay. So Ripunjay, he is also called as, his name is also called, they are given as Puranjay. So Puranjay, he was the one of the descendants of Jarasandha, descendants of Brihadratha. So Shukdev Goswami describes that, this Puranjaya, he was killed by his minister called Shunaka, and he installed his own son Pradyota as the king. And Pradyota, from him, the whole dynasty of Pradyota began. So in the dynasty of Pradyota, his son was Palaka, and then ultimately in the line, his Palaka's son was Vishakhayupa, his son was Rajaka. And in this way, the dynasty up to Nanda, up to Shishunag, the 5 kings in this Pradyota dynasty ruled for 138 years. Then Shishunaga's dynasty continued, and there were 10 kings who appeared in the Shishunaga dynasty, and they ruled for 360 years. So the last king in this Shishunaga dynasty was Nanda. So Nanda, he was a very, very powerful king, and his father Mahanandi, he begot this Nanda from a Shudra woman. So this Nanda, he was very powerful, and he became the master of lots of wealth. But he was not a pious religious king. So he was creating a havoc in the Kshatriya dynasty. And actually all the kings after Nanda, they actually were irreligious Shudras. So this king Nanda, he ruled this entire earth just like Parshuram. And he had 8 sons headed by Sumalya. So these sons, they ruled for 100 years. Now some interesting piece of information comes here in Bhagavatam. So it is described by Shukdev Goswami that, a Brahmana name is not mentioned. Nava Nandan Dvijak Kaschit Prapannan Uddharishyati Tesham Abhave Jagatim Maurya Bhokshanti Vaikalau. So in Kali Yuga, in the dynasty of, as this Nanda dynasty was going, there was a certain Brahmana, and obviously his name is Chanakya. So he will betray and destroy the dynasty of Nanda, and then he will install the Maurya kings, the Chandragupta Maurya. And from him, the Maurya dynasty will begin. And the Maurya dynasty will rule for 137 years. And in the Maurya dynasty, from Chandragupta, his son was Varisar. Varisar's son was the famous king Ashoka, Ashokavardhan. So the 10 kings appeared in the Maurya dynasty. Then the last king of this Maurya dynasty was Brihadratha. So in this Brihadratha's army, there was a commander called Pushpamitra. So Pushpamitra, he killed Brihadratha and he made himself as the king. And therefore, another dynasty began, which was called as Shung dynasty. So the kings, about 10 kings appeared in the Shung dynasty, and they ruled for more than 100 years. Then the last king of the Shung dynasty was Devabhuti. As you can see in this slide, the last king was Devabhuti. So Devabhuti, by nature, he was very lusty, debauchy, and he had a very intelligent minister called Vasudev. So this Vasudev, he was from Karnava family. So this Vasudev, he killed Devabhuti and he himself became the king. And then the dynasty of Karnava began. Karnava dynasty ruled for more than 345 years. And the last king of this dynasty was King Susharma. But this King Susharma, he was killed by his servant Bali. And the servant Bali, he was from low class Andhra race. He was a Shudra. And he became the king. And from Bali, the Andhra race began. So Bali, after Bali, his son Krishna, his brother, Krishna, he became the king. And in the course of the king, this dynasty, there are about 30 kings who ruled, and they ruled for 456 years. Then after these Andhra kings, there were kings like Abhira, 7 kings from Abhira dynasty. Then there were 10 kings from Gardhavis dynasty. Then there were 16 kings from Kanka. They all ruled the earth for 1099 years. And then after them, there were some Yavanas also who ruled. Then there were some class of people called Turukshas, then Gurundas and Maulas. They all ruled this earth. And ultimately, the Maulas, they ruled this earth for 300 years. After all these kings were dead, then another kings, they appeared. They were called as Kilkila kings. And these Kilkila kings, the 5 kings appeared in this dynasty and they ruled for 106 years, followed by 13 kings who appeared in the Bahalika dynasty. So these are all the various names. So after Bahalika dynasty, a king called Vishwafurji appeared. And this Vishwafurji, he was a very, very uncivilized, uncultured, low-class person. And in his dynasty, the entire civilization became all low-class people. And he disrupted the entire Vedic civilization, and he ruled of a tract of land between Ganga and Prayag. So that is the description which is given. And then at that time, it is described that there were some Brahmanas who were staying in the provinces called Saurashtra, Avanti, Abhir, Shura, Arbuda, and Malava. Because of the influence of this king, these Brahmanas of all these provinces, they forgot all their regulative principles. They started, doing all irreligious activities. And the royal members of the kings, they were actually no better than Shudras. So this king, he was ruling, and then after this, many lots of time passed. Many uncivilized kings came after that, and the qualities of these kings are described. These kings were completely barbarians. They were murdering those who were helpless. They were coveting the wives. They were having no good character. They were very whimsical in their nature, short-lived. So in this way, the entire civilization was getting destroyed. And yatha raja tatha praja. So citizens were also imitating the behavior of the king. And ultimately, they were all ruined in their, you know, destination. So, Prabhupada, so the purport describes there, the last verse of this chapter describes, the purport is written. At the end of the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it stated that Ripunjay, he was the first king who was mentioned in this chapter. So he ruled about 1000 years after Krishna left. So Krishna, he appeared 5000 years back. So this Puranjay, he must have appeared 4000 years ago. And the last king which was mentioned was Vishwafurji. So, and it is described that he appeared somewhere in the 12th century of Christian era. So many times, the modern Western scholars, they say that, Vedic texts, they are not giving any chronological details. But by this description, it is very obviously described how this Srimad Bhagavatam and all the Vedic scriptures, they are so very perfect in the chronological details also. And also, many times the chronology is not so much mentioned because the Vedic culture is ultimately focusing on the supreme goal, that is to come close to Krishna. And all these chronological details, that does not matter. Because the ultimate goal of all the Vedic studies is to come close to Krishna. So therefore, what is history basically? History is just a piece of information. Oh, this king ruled from this time to this time, and then somebody attacked and he died. All these things, they do not change the heart. Vedic scriptures, they are not interested in just giving the information. They are for the transformation of heart. So therefore, the Vedic scriptures also give chronology, but many times it is not given because that is not the focus. So then, the second chapter of this 12th canto, which is entitled as the symptoms of Kali Yuga. So in this chapter and in the next chapter, the graphic description of the symptoms of Kali Yuga is given. So Shukdev Goswami, he continues the discussion. He says, Tataschanudinam dharma satyam shaucham shamadaya kalena balina rajan nangshatyayo balam smritihi. So he says, O Rajan, tatascha anudinam dharmaha. So as Kali Yuga will progress, with every day passing by, satyam, shaucham, shama, daya, all these things will decrease, and dharma, religion, then truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, and mercy. What else will decrease? Kalena balina rajan nangshatyayu balam smritihi. And in due course of time, the life duration will increase, the physical strength and the memory will also decrease. So all these qualities, all these are the qualities which are desirable. Everybody wants to live long, have a good healthy life, have a sharp intelligence. But as Kali Yuga progresses, all these qualities, they go down. For example, dharma means, one should respect the higher authority. But in Kali Yuga, Nobody respects the higher authorities. Nobody respects the spiritual authority. Nobody is interested in speaking the truth. Satyam, truthfulness is going down. You know. And if somebody just speaks the truth, people think, oh, he is such a simple personality. He cannot speak some, you know, very uh, the words which are not so very easy to understand. He is such a simple personality. He is not expert in word jugglery. People don't appreciate that nowadays. And what is absolute truth? That is the knowledge about Krishna, which is missing. Then Shama, the tolerance is going down. You know, in this world, it is described there in the purport that because practically nobody is interested in maintaining the purity, and they cannot tolerate the urges of their senses. So therefore, that is also going down. And then Daya is also decreasing, and animal killing and all that is increasing. Because of all these self-destructive practices, the average lifespan is going down. You know. So in one place in the first canto, this verse Prayanalpayusha Sabhya Kalavasmin Yuge Jana Mandas Mandamatayo Mandabhagya Hupadrita. So it is described there in Kali Yuga, Alpa Ayusha, people will have very less life duration. Kalavasmin, Kali Yuga people, Manda, they are lazy, unintelligent. Sumandamatayo, Mandabhagya, they are unfortunate. And Upadritaha. There Prabhupada writes that in Kali Yuga, the life duration is less, not so much because of want of food. There is enough food, but people have less duration of life because of overeating and eating all nonsense things. So therefore, because of all these reasons, the life duration is going down. And purport describes that modern scientists, they publicize that, oh, the life duration is increasing. In 1950, life duration was 50 years average. Now it has come to 70 years. But actually, they are not showing the number of children who are killed in abortion. They are not counting that. And they are just going away from the basic principle of daya, to such an extent that even mothers are killing children in their wombs. All these things are going down. And then Shukdev Goswami says that in Kali Yuga, wealth will be the sign of good birth. If somebody is a wealthy personality, then he will be taken as a person of high birth, good behavior, fine qualities. And these people who have money, they can take law and justice in their hands. So law and justice depends on the power of wealth. So therefore, in this age of Kali Yuga, a man is considered a high class or a middle class or a lower class based on the financial status, not based on the qualities, not based on the culture, knowledge, behavior. All these things are not taken into consideration in Kali Yuga. And this was predicted 5,000 years back by Shukdev Goswami, and we can see, as we'll see, all these Kali Yuga symptoms. All these symptoms are, even today they are seen. What to speak of, what will happen at the end of Kali Yuga. Shukdev Goswami will describe that also. In today's day and age, people, they may live in the aristocratic, wealthy houses, but many times they have so many sinful habits. But that is not taken into consideration. According to Vedic criteria, the man, he was considered to be high class if he had good character, good behavior, integrity, moral values. But now all these things are not taken into consideration. And then it is described, Shukdev Goswami says that in Kali Yuga, man and women will live together on basis of superficial attraction. Just because of somebody is handsome or somebody is beautiful, men and women will come together and live. And success in business, it will be depending on the deceit, how much you can cheat others. That's how you'll become successful. If you can cheat others, then you are great businessman. Manliness and womanliness will not depend on the qualities and character. Manliness and womanliness will depend on one's expertise in sex life. And therefore, people, those, they are so very unsatisfied because they have tried their best to enjoy sex life, but still they are not happy. And then Shukdev Goswami says that in Kali Yuga, Brahmanas will be known by just wearing a 50 paisa thread. And that's what is happening nowadays also. Every, just even if we are traveling, even the taxi driver says, Maharaj, hum bhi Brahman hai. And then he'll quote few verses also. That is the situation of Kali Yuga. But the Vedic scriptures describes that marriage is a very, very sacred samskar, vivaha samskar, and this is not just meant for the male and females to come together and enjoy sex life. That is a regulated way to, dovetail our propensities to have sex life. That is not an unregulated way. But in Kali Yuga, it is like that only. And then Shukdev Goswami says that in Kali Yuga, the spiritual position, change of spiritual orders will depend on the external symbols. If somebody is wearing a saffron, if somebody has shaven head, if somebody has shikha, or somebody has a big beard, big tilak on his forehead, then he'll be accepted as a great religious personality. A person's property depends on his propriety, depends on his good earning. If he can earn good, then he is considered to be such a wonderful, successful personality. In Kali Yuga, one's scholarship will depend on word jugglery. And this is so very prevalent nowadays. There are many great, many famous spiritual leaders who are very expert in word jugglery. And people, they, even if they don't understand anything what these people are saying, they will still accept them as their teachers because, oh, he speaks something very great, although I'm not able to understand, but still he is a great teacher. That is what is happening in Kali Yuga. And then Shukdev Goswami says that a person, if he has no money, then he will be judged as unholy. And hypocrisy will be taken as a virtue. If somebody is hypocrite, somebody can cheat others, then he will be taken as a virtuous personality. Marriages, very interestingly, Shukdev Goswami is predicting marriages will happen just by verbal agreements. You go to a court and two people will come and say some things, I agree, and then the marriage is done. No samskar, no ceremonies, nothing is performed. That is marriage many times. Person will be fit to appear in the public just by taking bath. Actually, the person should decorate himself with ornaments and with religious symbols, also put tilak on the forehead, and that's how he'll be presentable in the public. But in Kali Yuga, person, if he has taken bath, then he'll be appreciated if he appears in the public like that. So that is what is the situation of Kali Yuga. So it is described in the purport. In this age, the institution of marriage will degenerate. Indeed, already a marriage certificate is sometimes cynically rejected as a mere piece of paper. So there are no religious ceremonies, no samskar which are performed. The spiritual purpose of marriage is missing in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, people, they come together just to enjoy the sensual pleasures. And then, very interestingly, Shukdev Goswami says that in Kali Yuga, the sacred place will be considered, will be identified by the reservoir of water. If some place has a reservoir of water, located at a distance, then that place is a sacred place. Beauty will depend on one's hairstyle. And nowadays people, they put so much effort, so much time in making such, weird type of hairstyles. That is the symbol of beauty nowadays. What is the goal of life in Kali Yuga? If somebody can fill the belly properly, that is the goal of life in Kali Yuga. A man is called expert if he can maintain the family properly. And the principles of religion, they will be considered only for the sake of reputation. People say, oh, I also have a guru. They will not listen to the guru, but they will maintain a guru just for the reputation. I am also a spiritual personality. I am also a religious personality. They will not hear, they will not submit to the guru, and the guru is also equally, imposter person. That is what is happening. In Kali Yuga, political power will be gained if somebody shows himself to be powerful. That's what's happening. We can see nowadays. And then Shukdev Goswami describes the sufferings of people in Kali Yuga. How people will suffer. In Kali Yuga, rulers will become thieves. The citizens will lose their wealth, will lose even their wife and property, and ultimately they will go to the forest. They will have to run to the forest and save themselves. There will be famines, excessive taxation, because the kings themselves will become like a dacoits. And the citizens, they will just maintain themselves by eating some leaves, fruits, roots, some berries, wild honey, and all that. As a result of that, they will be completely ruined. Their health will get destroyed. Just like a leaf, when it is disconnected from the main tree, ultimately becomes shriveled and degenerates. Similarly, when civilization goes away from spirituality, when away from Krishna, yatha tarormul nishechanena tripyanti tatskanda bhujopashakha pranopahara chatathendriyanam sarvar arahanam yatha achyutejya. Just like watering the root of the tree nourishes the entire tree, similarly, if one worships Krishna, then everybody is satisfied. So because in Kali Yuga, people, they are not worshipping Krishna, they are going away from the spiritual life. So therefore it is like a leaf which is disconnected from the tree. Although we may have our supercomputers and the rockets, but if we are not connected to the Supreme Lord, then ultimately everybody will starve, because yajna yagyarthat karmano anyatra. Yajna should be performed to please Krishna, and by that yajna the rain comes. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavah yagyad bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavah. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, when you please Krishna, then Krishna sends rains. So if people are not serving Lord, then the rains will not come and people will starve. And then they will suffer from cold, wind, hunger, thirst, heat, and then they will be tormented by quarrels and so many diseases. All these things will come. And towards the end of Kali Yuga, the maximum duration of life will be only 50 years, not more than that. And then towards the end of Kali Yuga, what will happen? The bodies of the humans, they'll be reduced in size. The religious principles will be completely ruined, Vedic principles will be forgotten, and the occupation will be just done at cost of stealing, lying, violence, and all the social classes will become Shudra ultimately. No Brahmanas, no Kshatriya, no Vaishya, all Shudras. The cows, they will be like goats. The height will reduce, you know, and the spiritual hermitages, the ashramas, they will be like mundane houses, no spiritual things going on there. That will be the condition at the end of Kali Yuga. So therefore, and it is described, most of the plants and herbs, they will be very tiny, just like the shami tree. Shami is a very small bush which you can see. That will be the maximum height of the trees. And people, they will be like asses, working so very hard. At that time, at the end of Kali Yuga, Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear on the earth, and by his spiritual goodness, he will rescue the eternal religion. So one time, this Alan Ginsberg, he went to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, what will happen at the end of Kali Yuga? So Prabhupada, he caught his collar, brought him near, and he said, I will eat you and you will eat me. That will happen at the end of Kali Yuga. So the further description of Kali Yuga will be coming in further future chapters. So all these descriptions should make a devotee all the more careful, all the more attentive, all the more serious in discharge of devotional service. Otherwise, if we are not taking this process seriously, we may land up there also, because it is said that if we are performing devotional service, and if we are not attentive, we are acquiring pious credits. We may go to heavenly planets. In heavenly planets, the duration of life is 10,000 years. By the time we'll come back, the golden age will be past. Golden age will be gone. So therefore, that time will be so very difficult to practice. And Kalki Avatar, what he will do, Kalki will not preach. Kalki will not give shelter, to like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yare tare koilo dan. No. So Kalki, he'll appear at the end of Kali Yuga and he'll save the eternal religion. So where Kalki will appear, that is also described. So just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever there is a decline in the religion and increase in the religious principles, I appear. So Kalki, he will appear in the home of a most eminent Brahmana of Shambhala village, and his name will be Vishnu Yasha. So this Shambhala village, this is not in our province, our Bhumandal, our Bharata Khanda, Bhukhanda. That is in the greater Bharatavarsha. We have discussed in the 5th canto cosmology. There he'll appear, and then he'll come here also. So he will ride on his horse called Devadatta, and he will carry a sword in his hand. He'll travel all over the earth. He will exhibit all the 8 mystic opulences. He'll be very, very powerful, very effulgent, unequaled in his effulgence, and he will kill all the thieves. Only one business of this Kalki Avatar, just killing irreligious people. And he will travel all over the earth, just killing all the irreligious, sinful kings and people. After all the impostor kings are killed, then people who are remaining, their minds will become free from all the contaminations, and the transcendental goodness will arise in the minds of those people who are remaining. And these people, because they will experience the aroma of the sandalwood paste which is there at the feet of the Lord Vasudeva, they'll become completely pure in their consciousness. And these people who are remaining, they will again repopulate the entire earth, and next Satya Yuga will begin. So, in the beginning of Satya Yuga, when will it happen? The time is also given. When the Satya Yuga will begin? When the moon, sun, and Brihaspati they come together in a constellation called Krikar, and all these three, moon, sun, and Brihaspati, they enter simultaneously into a lunar mansion called Pushya. At that time, Satya Yuga will begin. So then, after describing this, Shukdev Goswami says, "Therefore, O Parikshit, I have described to you all the kings who will appear in the dynasty of sun and the moon." And then he says, "From your birth up to the coronation of King Nanda." So we discussed some time back, Nanda will be the one of the kings, last kings in this dynasty of Puranjay. 1150 years will pass. And then he says, Kali entered this uh, earth, is this Bhumandal, when Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he departed. And because till the time Krishna was there, Kali could not do anything. So when Krishna departed, Kali entered this world. So then also Shukdev Goswami says, that there are two personalities, Devapi and Maru. Devapi, he is brother of Maharaj Shantanu, and Maru, he is descendant of Ikshvaku. Both of these people are still staying. They are great mystics. They have great strength. So these two people, they are still living in the village Kalap. They will come. They will receive the instruction of Supreme Personality of Godhead. They will come and reestablish the principles of religion and start the Satya Yuga again. Then after this, Shukdev Goswami continues that, in this Kali Yuga, in this world, there is a continuous cycle. Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. The cycle goes on. And all the kings, they have come and they have gone. Ultimately, nobody can keep anything with them. So therefore, whatever you have in this world, everything is futile. Krimi vidbhasma sangyante rajanamnopi yasya cha bhuta druktat krite swartham kim veda nirayoyatah. Very powerful verse now Shukdev Goswami is speaking here. So Shukdev Goswami is completely focused on how to make Parikshit completely detached from the position of a king also. Because Parikshit was a ruler of entire Bhumandal. How to make him detached? Shukdev Goswami says, oh, even if somebody is a king, Raja Namno Api, even if somebody is named as a king, what is the destination of his body? The destination of his body is krimi, vid, or bhasma. If the worms, they eat the body, the worms grow, so the body becomes worms, krimi. Or sometimes the body is thrown and the vultures and the jackals, they eat and the body becomes stool. And sometimes the body is burnt. In that case, the body becomes ashes. So why to be so much attached to this body, even if it is a body of a king? Why to be attached to it? Because ultimately, the body is either going to become a krimi, vid, or bhasma. Therefore, a person who injures other living entities for the sake of his own body, actually he does not know his self-interest and he will suffer in hell. So therefore, O Parikshit, why are you thinking about this bodily designation? People who are materialistic, but the materialistic kings of this world, they think, oh, this earth, it was under the rule of my ancestors. Now I am ruling. and then I will increase the kingdom and I will give a greater kingdom to my descendants. In this way, I will enjoy. That is how they are in the bodily conception, me and mine. So therefore, Shukdev Goswami says, my dear King Parikshit, all these kings who tried to rule the earth, ultimately they are nothing but the historical accounts. They are nothing but the names. Nobody even knows about them. So the word used is Rajan. Oh Rajan. So Shukdev Goswami is emphasizing, he is preparing Parikshit Maharaj's consciousness to leave this world in a detached way. Oh Rajan, don't identify yourself with this body. This body of a king, it is of no use. Many kings have come in the past and gone. They are just names. That is the end of the second chapter. Then, third chapter is also very interesting chapter entitled as Bhumi Geet. So at the end of the second chapter, Shukdev Goswami described how foolish kings, they consider this body, they consider that this kingdom is mine, this body is mine, but they are ultimately just the names. So this chapter, Shukdev Goswami will elaborate on this theme only. So Shukdev Goswami says, Drishtva manijay vyagran nripan hasati bhuriyan ahoma vijigishanti mrityo kiranaka nripaha. So Shukdev Goswami says, seeing the kings of this earth rule, trying to conquer her, Mother Earth, Bhumi Devi, she laughs. When she sees that people, the kings of this world, they are trying so very hard to conquer me, she laughs. Nripan hasati bhur iyan, she laughs. She says, oh, just see the kings of this world desiring to conquer me. Aho maya vijigishanti. They are desiring to conquer me. And what they are doing? They are actually playthings in the hands of death. All of them will be killed, but still they are working so hard. The great rulers, they meet frustration and they meet failure many times. In their material pursuits, many times they meet failure, they meet frustration. But still, because they are driven by lust, they want to enjoy their kingdom. They struggle so hard. They place great hope and they have great faith in this dead lump of flesh called body. Very strong words Parikshit Shukdev Goswami is using. These kings, they place faith in the body. What is this body? Ultimately, it is just like a bubble of foam on water. Dehinam Shanabhangura. This body is like a bubble of foam in the water, on the water. Anytime it can burst. Jivana Talamala. Kamala Dalajala Jivana Talamala. Bhajahu Haripada Niti Re. So nobody knows when he is going to die. Jivana Talmal, it is like a water which is there on the leaf of a lotus. Anytime it can slip off and fall in the water. But the kings of this world, they take so much of faith and have such great hope. These kings, they imagine, oh, first I will conquer my mind and conquer my senses. Then I will subdue all my ministers, my citizens, friends, relatives, and then I will conquer the entire earth. That's how I will enjoy. That is a thought process. But due to all these expectations, they do not see the reality. They do not see death nearby. Atma Jaya Sutagar. They are thinking they are my soldiers. But they are actually fallible soldiers. Deha Patyakalatra Dishu Atma Sainyasu Ashatsu Api Tesham pramatto nidhanam pashyannapi na pashyati. Because they are so very intoxicated with their desires to enjoy this world. They think their family, their children, their body will protect them, but they are all fallible soldiers. And then Bhumi Devi, she continues her song. She says, after conquering the land, they think of conquering the sea also, because they are so very attracted by the jewels which are found in the sea, ocean. They start conquering the sea also. And for this, they struggle so much with lots of sense control, lots of tapasya, austerity. They do everything to conquer all the lands and the seas. But what is the use of all this? All this political exploitation. What is the use of all this? Ultimate goal of self-control is to achieve spiritual liberation. That is the ultimate tapasya we have to do. No need to do any other tapasya. Our tapasya is how to chant attentive rounds, how to read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrit. Srila Prabhupada has given all these scriptures, not sleeping. Whole night he would translate. For whom? For all of us. So that is our tapasya, to sincerely read Bhagavatam, read Chaitanya Charitamrit and try to apply in our lives. Bhumi Devi says, many great men have come and left this world. Helplessly they have left. Although these kings, they are seeing many kings have come and gone, but still foolishly they are trying to conquer me. That is the situation. And for the sake of conquering me, materialistic persons, they fight with one another. Fathers, they oppose their sons many times. Brothers, they fight with each other. But what is the use of all these things? Political leaders, they challenge each other. Oh, this land is mine, it is not yours. You are a fool. Why are you encroaching on my property? That's how these political leaders are fighting. They even attack each other and they even die many times. But still, they do not stop. And the purport describes that the time when this purport was written, the Britishers and the Argentine military forces, they were fighting bitterly over the Falkland Islands. That was the situation that time. But actually, who is the supreme proprietor? Krishna is the supreme proprietor of all the lands. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate. And then Bhumi Devi gives a list of names. She says that great kings like Prithu, Pururava, Gadhi, Nahusha, Bharata, Arjuna. Arjuna is Karthavira Arjuna. Mandhata, Sagar, Ram. This Ram is not Lord Ramchandra. This is some other Lord Ram. Another Ram. Khatwang, Raghu, Trinabindu, Yayati, Sharayati, Shantanu, Gaya, Bhagirath, Kolayashva, Kutastha, Naishadha, Nriga, Hiranyakashipu. Some demoniac kings are also mentioned by Bhumi Devi. Hiranyakashipu, Vritrasur, Ravan, Namuchi, Shambara, Bhaumasur. All these kings and many other kings, they came, they possessed great powers. They were very learned, educated, heroic, conquering all the directions. But although they lived their whole life conquering me, trying to increase their influence, but now all of them are reduced to just the list of names. They are all just historical accounts, no more than that. So therefore, why one should endeavor for all this? Shukdev Goswami is telling. He says, actually, Parikshit, why I am telling you the narration of all these things? What is the ultimate purpose? Because we may be thinking, what is the use of hearing all these list of names, names after names? And somebody may say, chalo, ninth canto kings, they were devotees. All these are all, you know, degraded people. Why we are listening the names of all these people? This is to create vairagya in the heart, to teach gyan and to teach vairagya. Shukdev Goswami says, I am telling you all these descriptions just to teach gyan and vairagya. And therefore, Shukdev Goswami then says, but actually, the actual substance is Harikatha. Yastuttama shloka gunanuvada sangiyate abhiksham amangalagnaha tameva nityam shrunuyad abhikshnam krishne amalam bhakti abhipsamanaha. So he says, Harikatha destroys all inauspiciousness. All inauspiciousness. Yastu uttama shloka gunanuvada. One should hear about the narrations of the Uttama Shlok, the Lord Uttama Shloka, who is glorified by choicest words. Gunanuvadaha, the glorious qualities of Lord Uttama Shloka. Sangiyate abhikshnam amangalagnaha, constant chanting of the names of Lord Uttama Shloka. What it does? Amangala gnaha. It destroys all the inauspiciousness. So therefore what we should do? Tameva nityam shrunuyad abhikshnam. Nityam shrunuyad. One should hear regularly. Regularly one should hear Harikatha. Abhikshanam, constantly. Not just once. Not just, okay, sometime a day. Every moment we should hear Abhikshanam. What will happen? What will be the result of this type of hearing? Krishne amalam bhaktim abhipsamanaha. One will get unalloyed devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. That is the result of hearing Harikatha. So Chakravarti Thakur describes that one should hear about the stories of the great devotees. Secondly, one should hear about the stories of the Lord's intimate associates. Thirdly, one should hear Bhagavatam. And fourthly, one should hear the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. That we'll be discussing after few days. So these four things are very, very important to develop the taste for holy name, to develop the attraction for Harikatha. Because Krishna is described in all the other cantos in some places, but 10th canto Krishna is everywhere. So therefore 4 points should be understood: the stories of devotees of Krishna, stories of pure devotees, the intimate associates of Krishna, and one should hear Bhagavatam, and one should hear 10th canto. And then Shukdev Goswami describes how, and now Parikshit Maharaj asks a question. He says, O Shukdev Goswami, how can a person living in the age of Kali will get rid of the influence of Kali? Kenopayena Bhagavan Kalir Doshan Kalau Janah Vidhamishyanti Upachitam Stanme Bruhi Yatha Mune. Kena upayena, क्या उपाय करेंगे कि कली के प्रभाव से मुक्त हो जाएं? केना उपायena भगवान, please tell me how a person living in Kali Yuga will be free from the cumulative contamination of this age. And then he says, oh Shukdev Goswami, please explain me about the different ages, the special qualities of those ages, the duration of those ages, and the movements of time. Yugani yugdharmancha manam pralaya kalpayoh kalasyeshwara rupasya gatim vishnor mahatmanah. So Shukdev Goswami, in response to this question, now starts the description of the qualities of the 4 ages and the qualities of the people who are staying in those ages. He says, in Satya Yuga, which is also called as Krita, Krita Yuga. Krita means truth. So in this Krita Yuga, the religion was fully present. All the four limbs of religion were fully manifested. What are the four legs of religion? Truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and charity. All these things were fully manifested in Satya Yuga. Who were the people? What were their qualities? Santushta, Karuna, Maitra, Shanta, Danta, Stitikshava, Atma, Rama, Samadrisha, Prayasha, Shramana, Jana. So people of Kali Yuga, they were Santushta, always satisfied, Shanta, peaceful, Danta, sense controlled, Karuna, merciful, and Maitra, friendly to everybody, Titikshavaha, tolerant, Atma Ram, they were self-satisfied, Samadrisha, equal in vision, Prayasho Shramana Jana, they were endeavoring very diligently to attain self-realization. That is Satya Yuga. In Treta Yuga, what happened? All the four legs of religion, they became diminished by 1/4. The qualities of people of Treta Yuga, they were very fixed in austerity. They were very, very non-violent, non-deceitful, fixed in dharma, artha, kama, and mostly people were brahmanas. Most of the people had brahmanical qualities. In Dwapar Yuga, what happened? The legs of religion, they reduced to half. The people of Dwapar Yuga, who were they? Yashashvino Mahashila Swadhyayadhyayanratah Adhya Kutumbino Rishta Varna Shatra Dvijuttara. They were very noble, interested in glories, and they were devoted to the study of the Vedas. They had good opulence, they possessed a long duration of life. They were mostly Kshatriyas and Brahmanas. So Treta Yuga, mostly Brahmanas. Dwapar Yuga, mostly Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Now, Kali Yuga, what happened? In our age, only 1/4 of the religious principles remain. And as the age progresses, that is also getting destroyed. What are the qualities of people of Kali Yuga? What are our qualities? Tasmin lubdha durachara nirdaya shushkavairina durbhaga bhuritarshascha shudra dasottara praja. Most of the people are like this. Lubdha, greedy. They are durachar, ill-behaved. Nirdaya, merciless. Fighting over small things. Without any reason, people fight. You get into the local train, for no reason, people start fighting. Durbhaga, ultimately they are unfortunate. And they have unlimited desires. Bhuri tarsha. Their desires never end. Almost all are either Shudras and barbarians. Very cruel people. In Satya Yuga, people were completely in the mode of goodness. In Treta Yuga, goodness and passion. Dwapar Yuga, in Treta Yuga, the passion was more prominent. Dwapar Yuga, passion and ignorance became prominent. In Kali Yuga, the mode of ignorance is very, very prominent. Then Shukadeva Goswami describes the more of the qualities of people of Kali. Kali Yuga people, they are short-sighted, they are unfortunate, always greedy for things, lustful, many times poverty-stricken. Women will be unchaste many times, and cities will be dominated by thieves. Vedas it will be contaminated because of speculation. People, they will speculate so many of the things which are not in line with the scriptures, not in line with parampara. And all these things, they are much more prominent in Kali Yuga. That's why it is said, regularly hear scriptures, regularly read Bhagavatam, read Bhagavad Gita, read Chaitanya Charitamrita, so that we know what is right, what is wrong. Nobody can, you know, make us disbelieve the Vedas. We should be very, very careful in reading the scriptures, understanding all the intricate details. Otherwise, it is so very easy to get bewildered in Kali Yuga. Marga babuva sandigdha trinai shanna hi samskrita asabhyamana shrutayo abhyasyamana shrutayo dvijai kalena chahata. Just like if somebody is not walking on the village path, the path becomes covered with the weeds. If we are not regularly reading scriptures, our intelligence will get covered with the doubts. And therefore, in Kali Yuga, Vedas, they are contaminated by speculation. Political leaders, they will practically consume the citizens. They will exploit the citizens so much. The priests and the intellectual class of people, they will become the servants of their bellies and genitals. Brahmacharis, they will not be so clean. They will not stick to their vows. Householders, they will practically become beggars. Vanprasthas, they will not leave their home. They will live in the village itself. Sannyasis, they will become very, very greedy, you know. And women, they will become very small, eat too much, many times shameless, speak harsh words, deceitful, audacious. All these are the qualities. Many times it will manifest. In terms of business, people, they will just interested in earning more and more money. They don't consider whether they are earning money by good means or the bad means. Because occupation, earning money is the prime goal. Servants will abandon their poor masters. Masters will abandon their servants who become incapacitated. Cows will be abandoned in Kali Yuga if they are not giving milk. Married life. In married life, men will be controlled by women. Many times they will reject their relatives, fathers, brothers, and they will associate with the relatives of their wives. Friendship in Kali Yuga will depend on sexual ties. In terms of religion, there will be no charity given. And many times people, they would speak so many things about religion, although they don't know, they will not know anything about religion. They'll speak. What will be the status of the mind? Always disturbed, always agitated, full of fear, and they will appear ghostly because they will not take bath, they will not wear any ornaments, and they will not get proper rest. They'll not eat proper food, they will not be able to enjoy sex life also properly. And that's how they will appear ghost haunted. They will do anything for wealth. They will not consider this is good or bad. Over few coins, people will become enemies. Even they will kill each other for few gold coins. And people of Kali Yuga, they will not protect their dependents like old people, children, women. They will remain unprotected. And therefore, men will care only to fill their belly. They will only be the servants of their bellies and genitals. And in Kali Yuga, there will be no worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the supreme ultimate goal of all the living entities. No sacrifice for Supreme Lord will be performed. People will completely become atheistic. And therefore, Shukdev Goswami now ends this chapter by glorifying the holy name. यन्नामधेय म्रियमाण आतुरा पतन स्खलन वा विवशो गृणन् पुमान् विमुक्त कर्मार्गल उत्तमां गतिं प्राप्नोति यक्षन्ति न तं कलौ जनाः. In Kali Yuga, people will not take to the chanting of the names of the Lord. Even if somebody is about to die, they will not take to the names of the Lord. Or, although the holy name of the Lord is so very powerful, so very potent, even if the voice is faltering, choked, hardly if somebody is conscious, if he chants the name of the Lord, he attains the highest destination. Uttamam gatim. Still, people of Kali Yuga will not take to this process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. In Kali Yuga, objects, places, and even individual personalities, everything will be polluted. And then Shukdev Goswami speaks another very, very powerful verse. Shruta sankirtito dhyata pujitascha va nrinam dhunoti bhagwan ritistho janmayuta shubham. He says, if somebody just hears, glorifies, meditates, and worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes free from all the contaminations. Just like a fire purifies the gold, if somebody meditates on the Lord, Supreme Lord purifies the mind of the meditator. There are so many means one can take to purify the mind by worshipping the Devatas, by doing various austerities, by compassion, by following the mantras, by practicing vows. Nothing can absolutely purify the mind better than the meditation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only when the Supreme Lord enters the mind becomes completely purified. And then Shukdev Goswami gives the instruction to Parikshit Maharaj. Tasmat sarvatmana rajan hridistham kuru keshavam mriyamano hi avahitas tato yasi param gatim. O Rajan, O King Parikshit, please endeavor to fix Lord Keshava in your heart. Hridistham kuru. Please fix Lord Keshava in your heart, because if you fix the Lord Keshava in your heart with full concentration, at death you will attain the Param Gatim. You will attain the supreme destination, because Krishna is the supreme controller. He can control the destination. He is a supreme shelter of all the beings. And if one meditates at the time of death on the lotus feet of the Lord, he attains the spiritual identity. And then the two very, very famous verses Shukdev Goswami speaks. Kaler dosh nidhe rajan asti hi eko mahan gunan kirtanadev krishnasya mukta sangha param brajit. This Kali Yuga, although it is full of faults, unlimited faults, Shukdev Goswami has said. Now, Shukdev Goswami is saying, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, but just like one king is sufficient to destroy and kill many thieves, there is one good quality in Kali Yuga which is sufficient to destroy all the bad qualities. What is that? Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Brajit. Just by chanting the names of the Lord, one can attain the highest destination. That is the wonderful nature of Kali Yuga. Therefore, even sages of Satya Yuga, they want to take birth in Kali Yuga, because highest is available very freely. Kriteyadhyayate Vishnu Tretayam Yajato Makhai Dwapare Paricharyayam Kalau Tadhari Kirtanat. That supreme destination which was achieved by doing thousands and thousand years of tapasya in Satya Yuga, by doing great fire sacrifices in Treta Yuga, by doing very diligent, very punctual deity worship in Dwapar Yuga, The same destination is attained by chanting the names of Lord in Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is the wonderful quality of Kali Yuga. So this is the end of the third chapter. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions you can ask?
The people of Kali Yuga, why they will not wear?
Why?
They will not wear ornaments.
Because the ornaments will not remain only. There will be no gold. Nowadays you can see, earlier people would eat in golden or silver plates. Now we are eating in stainless steel plates. Not even that, we are eating in plastic plates. Earlier women would wear golden and silver and diamond jewelry. Now women, they wear artificial jewelry, artificial diamond. So all these things are going down. Earth will not give all the resources. The ocean will not give the minerals and the pearls. So naturally there will be no ornaments remaining.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Prabhuji, all the symptoms are there, means it is written in Bhagavatam. We hear also. But then why that seriousness in chanting doesn't come?
Okay, why doesn't the seriousness? Because we think we will do it, not now, later. That's how mind convinces us. That's why we have to keep hearing again and again, because nobody knows when death will come. And if we want to really be very strong, we should understand, if we are doing inattentive chanting, what we are doing, we are not coming close to Krishna, we are acquiring pious credits. Inattentive chanting means Krishna is not there. And if Krishna is not there, then what we are doing, we are acquiring punya. Punya will take us to heaven. Heaven will live for thousands of years. By the time we'll come back, then the 10,000 years of golden age is gone. Then it will be so difficult to practice bhakti. So all these things should make us very, very serious in the practice of Krishna consciousness. And of course, this is a process of anartha nivritti. We cannot artificially come to the level of Shuddhanam. We can try our best. And rest, whatever, Krishna's mercy, we can just wait for that. But in our hand, that is endeavor. Endeavor is there. Shrinvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grinatascha Swacheshtitam. Swacheshtitam means intense, serious endeavor. That is required. Then Krishna will give Shuddha Bhakti. Otherwise, Bhakti is Sudurlabha. Krishna will not give Bhakti so easily. So therefore, we have to endeavor. And then by regular hearing, we will also understand the seriousness. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So,
Hare
thank you
Krishna.
very much. So tomorrow we'll not be having class. We'll continue on Wednesday. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.